It's rolling.
Oh, it's fucking rolling, boys. Yeah.
Oh.
That's good. I've been waiting for that all day. I've been looking forward to that inaugural sip at least the last 6 hours. Like, I'm just like, any minute now, I'm going to be free.
Yep, Nick has been waiting for this. This is the moment of truth. Hello, folks. It's the 4099 podcast with your hosts, Dima and...
What up? I'm Nick.
And I will let Nick do the intros on this one, just because he's been so excited to get the ball rolling on this episode here.
All right, so this episode right here starts off a series that I've kind of been wanting to get into for a few now. And the main structure of it is to develop onto like a global community. What is the basic structure of the people of America's governments? How do they feel about that in their day-to-day life? And how do they look upon us, the U.S.? So without further ado, I give you probably my favorite foreign horse lady / nature enthusiast fan, Anu.
Yeah, it was good.
Pleasure to find
well
you.
done. The name pronunciation.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah, we're gonna. It's a constant improvement. You know, every time he says his name, the more he says your name, the better he'll get at it. You know,
Yeah,
he has that American tongue. You know,
it doesn't work. So, first thing I want to ask, just to kind of like get some understanding here, is like in Finland, where you're from.
Yeah.
Is English like a predominant language there, or is that like something not so often you come by? I don't know.
Well, we do speak English here, like except the old folks. It is taught in our schools, and since Finland is a bilingual country, so we speak Finnish and Swedish here. But yeah, we do speak English as well, and it's taught in schools.
Sick.
It's not that foreign.
All right, so like the old folks still speak like the native tongue only.
Yeah.
that's that's kind of like I'd say that's pretty much everywhere. You know, it's like the older folks. You know, it's like we're in a generation where. And this is kind of a perfect segue into this whole show and this whole episode is like we're at a point in time where not only is travel like super accessible to everyone, you know, but also yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, you know, language is more accessible to people. If you want to learn French, you can fucking learn French. If you want to learn, you know, Finnish, what's the like the traditional name for the language? Is it just Finnish or does it have a specific
in my language?
Yeah.
Suomen kieli.
Yeah. I can't do that yet. I'm not that advanced yet.
I'm not there yet either.
Yeah, but
that's what this whole series is about. You know,
Just say Suomi.
Yeah, we're trying to like globalize. We're trying to really reach that barrier and work on a community. And I'm not gonna sit here and promise that I'm gonna learn Finnish very soon, but
yeah, come on, it's really like hard or difficult language to learn, so I'm not expecting you to.
But that being said, I appreciate the English thing. That makes this way easier. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here on Google Translate.
Trying to Google what perkele means and
exactly. I mean, but
how do you spell this?
Yeah, just Google it, Google everything. Yeah, no, I mean this. The cool thing about this episode and kind of like even we can call it like a little mini series is like the fact that I feel not only are we learning new things, right, and we're kind of taking that knowledge and putting it on a public platform and allowing other people to see and hear and absorb what we are kind of learning at the same time, which makes this super special. And again, we want to, I don't think me and Nick can say enough how much it means for you to be on the show and for you to not only come and speak to us, but also our listeners and our viewers.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for having me.
you're basically helping us teach people that it doesn't really matter where you come from. You can have a
Yeah.
common ground, you know?
Well, of course. Yeah.
So with that, I kind of would like to get into like, what is the government structure in Finland? I don't really understand it. I know, like, to give you a comparison, in the U.S., we have
Mhm.
3 different branches of government at the
Yeah.
federal level.
Yeah.
You know, we have executive branch, which would be like the president.
Mhm.
We have
Mhm.
legislature, which would be, what do you call it, the House?
Yeah.
And then you have the
Mhm.
judiciary branch, which is like basically this elite panel of judges that
Mhm.
they rule on federal cases. And
Yeah.
Supreme Court.
yeah, Supreme Court. And then we have the state level, which gets a little more
Weird.
widespread.
Yeah.
And it's weird because it's state by
Okay.
state.
Yeah.
That's the general layout for the U.S.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Well, here, well, it is basically the same. Of course, we are one country. We don't have states like you guys have, but yeah, we are like we have a president here as well, and Prime Minister Sanna Marin, and then we have like these little more local like administrations here. But I think the biggest difference here is that, for example, we have free healthcare, free education, and well, if you go to, for example, to study in University of Applied Sciences, the government actually pays you for your studying.
That's not. That sounds good.
put me in.
Yeah.
Wait. So can anybody just go? Like, can I be like, all right, I'm ready to move to Finland and go to college?
No, you can't.
It doesn't work that
It's
way.
not that easy. No.
Okay.
No.
So could I come
First
there?
of all, you gotta master the language.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's a tricky part.
Oh. Okay, so there's some barriers to entry. I get it.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to ask you before we get like into bigger topics and stuff, just to have our listeners and our viewers kind of get a little bit of a background on you and maybe how you grew up and give them kind of a feeling of what it's like to grow up in Finland and stuff like that. So have you ever been to the States or
No.
Okay, so
No,
I'm sorry for cutting you off. What were you going to say?
no, I'm just been traveling to all around Europe and Thailand, but never been to the States.
But like, have you seen or maybe you have some American friends, or you've seen like a little bit of the culture or society?
Yeah.
So yeah. So what I was going to ask you was, when taking your childhood or your youth and stuff like that, what is some of the differences that you notice between more of an American kind of way of growing up and then more of like a Finnish way of getting to older?
Well, I think the families here aren't that big, and since we don't have that many people here in Finland, most of them live in Helsinki. I live in Kuopio, which is basically almost the middle of Finland.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have that big families here. It's a
Uh-oh.
Technical difficulty. Sorry about that. There was a connection error. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was saying that, for example, nature has a really big role. It has always had a big role in my life. And basically, since from the childhood, most of us are being taught how to fish and hunt and stuff like that. I don't know how is it growing up in the States, but we are basically country people here if you compare it to people living in big cities.
Mm.
So I think that could be probably the biggest difference.
Yeah, so you would say some of the bigger differences are like, the family size and the fact that, there in Finland, a lot of people, most people are very, very connected to where they live and the nature that surrounds them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, here in the States, I mean, we have a lot of beautiful, beautiful land. It's a big, big country, so there's a lot of forests and, national property for all kind. Grand Canyon, obviously, being one of them, and a lot of different national parks and stuff like that. And I'd say you see a lot of people going out there, but they're not really like hunting or living out in the wild.
So like, they go out there, they walk around, they take some pictures, they post it on Instagram, and they're like, I had such a wonderful day in nature, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Out there and like hunting down a moose to feed the family, or like hitting the stream to catch some trout, Very seldom. Very seldom.
Yeah, that's basically what I don't hunt, but I do fish. And that is basically, I grew up in a boat. My mom fish, my dad is basically a half fisherman. So that's what I used to do since every summer, every winter, ice fishing.
How is that? How is ice fishing? Because I've lived in New Hampshire before, and they do ice fishing there, and I never got the opportunity to like partake. Is it fun?
It's super fun, yeah.
I feel like you go out there, you get hammered, you catch a big old fish, and yeah,
you're happy.
Yeah, just a bunch of people sitting around telling stories by the heater.
Basically like that.
Then it's everything I ever imagined, and I love it.
So, what do you?
Cold. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can only imagine how cold it gets up there. I go to Sweden. I try to go every other year. I have a godfather that lives in Stockholm, so
okay.
Yeah, so I'm near you. I'm close, a little bit closer than Nick has been, but I mean it gets real cold, real cold.
Yeah. And Stockholm is it's really south.
Yeah.
If you compare it to where I live.
Right. You're more of like up here, and Stockholm is a little bit further down there.
Yeah.
I'm really, really curious. What would you say your the greatest lesson that you've learned from nature is?
Appreciate it. And don't like middle into things. Just let it be as it is. Enjoy it, but don't try to control it.
It's a very like anthropologic.
Yeah.
That as well. It's actually a really good principle to live by because, I mean, to be fair and honest, life is fleeting, and natural life is fleeting even faster. So
it should go like that.
So I imagine that like I sense like the whole like I don't know how you feel about this, and I would love for your input. But the whole like global warming, climate change thing, I feel like you guys, being as far north as you are, you see a lot of the actual firsthand effects. Yeah.
Yeah. Some. Yeah. Although there has been like, some of the winters have been a little bit more warmer than they used to be. I'm not sure how it's gonna be this year. Apparently there's already shit tons of snow in Lapland. like 1.5 meters right now, and it snowed like
was that like
3 days.
5.5, 6 feet? Something like that. Something like that. I believe I'm not sure, and
it's a good amount of snow.
Somebody's going to correct me in the comments. I'm not sure, but I think the conversion.
The metric system.
Like 1 meter, I think is 3 feet.
Yeah, I think so. Don't quote me on that either, folks. See, this proves to you where Americans live. We just live on a little.
We live on our own little like egotistical island. We don't know anything.
Hey, but listen, having said all of that, we love all the Americans because a lot of our viewers and listeners, I'm sure, are very, very much more smarter than we are. I mean, it's just me and Nick, dumb old me and Nick here. That
Yeah, outside looking at doorknobs. Let's get back to it.
So, I mean, touching a little bit more on nature, do you guys have? I'm sure you guys have like, is it very strict kind of laws regarding what you can and cannot do when you're out in nature, or is it more of just like, okay, we assume that all of our citizens are pretty good people with pretty good heads on their shoulders, and you just go out there and do your thing?
I will say,
yes, go ahead.
The American government does not assume common sense.
Yeah, which is good. Is good.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of people here are stupid
laws.
when it comes
we do have
to
some laws here, but basically if you don't own the land, you can still go there and pick up everything you find, mushrooms, berries, whatever, and you can actually spend the night in the forest. You don't have to ask for the permission from the landowner. So it is called this jokamiehen oikeus, every man's right.
oh, that's a mouthful.
Big word.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, yeah, you can go everywhere. If it's not a private marked area, then yeah, you can go there. But just do not cut down any trees or do any harm for the nature. Otherwise, you're good to go.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty much how it's like here, except you can't like.
You can't just go spend the night somewhere.
Yeah, it is regulated. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's actually quite different.
Well, I mean, with that respect, I mean, if you're out in nature, you can pretty much do anything you want, except for like, obviously cut down trees and stuff like that, right?
I'm gonna actually refer you to some literature after this.
All right, go ahead. Why? What's the matter?
Well, so like, you're only allowed to camp in designated camping areas.
Okay.
Anything outside of that, and what we have is the Wildlife Service, and some of the agents of the Wildlife Service actually have like higher like authority and credentials than a lot of like law enforcement, and they will hit you with the book. They will staple your ass to the wall and just smack you.
Yeah, they sound like nice people.
They're not. They're not. They're government employees.
Have they done anything bad to you?
Oh, not to me personally. And honestly, I think they have given the situations at hand with like the amount of like natural environment destruction that Americans have caused. Like, I think they have a reasonable place in our legal ecosystem. But DEMA is wrong, and the Wildlife Service will fuck you up.
All right, and let me not incriminate myself more on this show. Did you hear? Have you heard of because this was like just happening a couple weeks ago, about the recent forest fires in California?
Yeah, I've heard about them. Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of comes from human stupidity over here about someone throwing a cigarette or something like that, and it's just bad.
You know why we don't have that here? Because we rake our forests.
Really?
No, we don't. Trump thinks that we do.
Messing with us.
Well, they rake their forests from idiots. You know what I mean? They just put yeah.
No, so another big issue though with the California fires, especially year before last, not this past year, but
2018.
Yeah, the electric company in California caused a lot of those fires just because they had older, faulty equipment that, in the event of like heavy wind, would spark a fire and have, like, loose cables or something. They'd snap off, and electricity just through the wires, and then it attaches like the dry grass on the like the high desert or whatever, and the next thing you know, a whole city's on fire.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that.
Listen, I kind of want to make it a little bit more personal here. So you being such a lover of nature and
Well,
Go ahead.
are all Finnish people? Are all Finnish people like huge advocates of nature?
I wouldn't say all. Some are, and they are really like serious about it. I'm not the worst.
So you're saying you have all sorts. You have the hippies.
Yeah, and then we have the idiots that throw away trash into the woods, and yeah, I don't like them.
I feel like she'd get along with Lily.
Yeah.
Our last guest. We had our last guest that we had on the show, she actually runs a statewide litter and trash pickup on the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah. Anyway, getting away from that, but getting back to your topic.
Yeah. No. So the only thing I was going to ask was to make it a little bit more, like I said before, personal. When did you start getting into nature? Was it as a kid? And when you're out there, out in nature, are you usually kind of, are you camping out there? Are you just hiking? Are you what do you usually do out there?
Well, it has been like since ever my childhood. Like I grew up in a boat. I grew up in a forest, running around, climbing trees, stuff like that. Watching every nature documentary that the TV showed. Like my biggest kink. Yeah, and basically it was a part of my childhood, and still I go camping, I go hiking. Nature photography is one big thing for me. And yeah, I do all sorts of things. Like if I don't have much time, I know that there are places here that I can go just and spend a few hours there. Make a campfire and prepare some food, and that's it. And then go to work and come back to the city.
That sounds like a very good life right there.
Yeah, it is, although it's really dark and rainy and cold right now, but
it's about that time of year.
Yeah, it is, but I kind of like it.
I feel like it kind of like sets the tempo slow and low, so it's kind of like, I don't know, if you don't necessarily need the sun, it's probably a good tempo for anybody that's trying to like take it easy. I don't know, I'd be into it. So
do you feel like people out in Finland, because here in the States we see a lot of especially like the younger kids and the new, I guess you can call it the new generation, because of technology and computers, phones, all that kind of stuff. Do a lot of people still are still really connected to nature, or do you feel like there's a huge movement of people in Finland that are kind of moving to bigger cities and pursuing careers and just kind of saying like, nature's not really a part of my life anymore. Let me just go ahead and focus on whatever on the computer or this or that. Like, how is it there?
There is definitely a big movement, but on the other hand, I feel like that, well, I consider myself as a young person still.
Yeah.
Not that old, but definitely since at my age, we have been growing in the woods, and nature has played such a big role in our lives. But I think that especially the kids from bigger cities, they are much more into technology than kids from smaller cities. But there's definitely some kind of like a twist going on. But I don't know, I trust and I hope that the nature is still kind of like built inside of every one of us. So, but time will tell what happens.
Do you think that people in Finland are so connected to nature? Because me and Nick, we're over here playing, Skyrim. We're looking at, we're learning about, we're learning about all the ancient, Norse mythology and the Vikings and Valhalla and like all these different things on the video games. Do you feel like
He said, we're over here playing Skyrim, lording about the Nords.
No, but listen, but like
it's not a video game.
Life is a simulation. But no. Seriously, do you think, on a serious note?
Oh, now you serious?
On a serious note, do you think that What do you think, like culturally, and even in terms of society, keeps, and I see this a lot in especially Scandinavian countries. I mean, there's a huge, interest, and the word we're using was before was like there's a kink and there's an interest, there's a connection to nature. Do you think that over the years for the civilization up there, there were certain things that happened in history to keep that interest and to keep that connection to nature and to keep it a little bit more to stay connected to the land, to stay connected to the trees, the fish, the beautiful birds, the snow falling down, all the seasons? Or I'm interested in that because you see, I mean, I like whenever I'm in Sweden or whenever I'm learning a little bit more about culture over there, I mean, everyone just seems so fascinated with
this question.
I'm building up the question. All right, let me build up the question.
Wow.
So like historically, right? I'm really curious. Like historically, what has happened to keep people in Finland and in Scandinavia so connected to nature? Because we don't really see that a lot, here in the States. Now, America is a very young country in comparison to a lot of other countries. So I guess time lapse wise, it makes a little bit of sense. But I mean, what do you think it is? I'm curious.
I think the ultimate reason is that we are badasses. The Christianity tried to come here and tell us that we are heathens and we cannot worship nature, and we were just like,
I did, motherfucker. Yeah.
I love that.
Of course, we are Christians now here, but we can always like do things in secret. Because we have like a lot of places here that has been like this ancient holy places for like different kinds of big stones or caves. And the life here has cycled very much like around seasons. For example, and it's coming back right now because, for example, Kekri is basically a Finnish Halloween.
Sick.
And it marks the end of like harvest season, and we are celebrating it. I think it's not this weekend, but the next one. And we are gonna burn down this really big goat made out of straw and wood.
Ooh.
It's gonna set it on fire and eat something and probably have a few beers.
Dima, can we go? Sounds like fun.
I don't think.
You're always welcome.
I don't.
Shit.
So bringing it back from kind of, we've been traveling through history this whole episode, but bringing it back to the present here. Because talking about going to Finland and stuff, how's the coronavirus impacted life and society there? I mean, is it still, are you guys on lockdown? What's going on?
Well, we can go outside and the bars are open, but there are still some regulations here that basically places are open. We just cannot travel. I'm not really sure about the countries. I haven't checked it, but it has been a little bit tough for me because I like to travel so much. But yeah, but we can still go out and meet friends, but just need to be really cautious.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Use our common sense.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Wash those hands.
Yeah.
So, oh no. Don't do that. I'm trying to remember, is Finland the country that practiced year walking? Are you familiar with that?
What? Practice?
I don't even know what the hell you're talking about.
So I watched a thing. It was like a documentary almost on the practice of year walking, where someone would the idea is that you try to like in one evening figure out what your year would bring you, like the following year. And
probably not here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do some more research. I'll get back to you like outside of this on that.
Okay.
That sounds like a thing in Greenland or something like that. I don't know.
It was Scandinavian. I remember that.
Hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it involved hallucinogenics. There are all these different omens that would come up, and if you saw like whatever omen,
Sounds like a Norwegian stuff.
maybe, definitely maybe.
Somewhere.
Should we have a bet?
I don't know
Which
any.
one is
Wait,
right?
no, I don't
This is
think
gonna be so embarrassing if it's Finland.
we'll do it offline. It'll be fine.
Okay.
But all right, yeah. Where are we?
We are just having a conversation here. That's where we are. I mean,
all right. So I want to get back to like your government structure, and I want to understand, like, so you have a president, correct?
Yeah.
And a
Yeah.
prime minister.
Yeah.
What does the president do, and what does the prime minister do? Like, what are their gigs?
Well, prime minister basically it is the head of every decision and controlling the ministry, and president is the one who is in charge of our army and our relationships to other countries.
so more of like the face.
Yeah.
And the prime minister is the guy who actually makes the moves.
So the prime minister is more interior control, and the president exterior interfacing. Okay. Okay, that's kind of cool. We don't have that prime minister situation. The president is
the end all do all.
Yeah, kind of a jack of all trades, master of none.
Well, I mean, not really. I guess you have like the other branches of government that check the president. But the president, if he makes a decision, it usually goes, and it just depends on. I mean, this starts getting into a whole bunch of shit, but it gets into how many different, what the House, how many Republicans and Democrats the House has, if their ideas, match one another and stuff like that. So
it's messy.
Yeah, it is messy.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
All right. And then from that, like, how do you feel about your country's government situation, like in a big picture?
I think it's quite good right now. Of course, it could be better. For example, like the things that I feel like that could be done much better is, for example, the situation with old people, like the ones in their care houses and stuff like that, and youth work, for example, because they are always like they have this money that they put into these different kind of like institutions, and those are the things that I feel like, in my personal opinion, those are the places that should they need much more in our attention, for example, and a little bit more money. But then again, you cannot do it all. But I think it's pretty good right now, although we have some bullies there in our government, but they are always manageable.
So all in all, only a few complaints.
Yeah, well, I'm a Finn. We always have.
Really? Is that like a stereotype?
Yeah, we always think that we could do things a little bit better.
Okay. All right. I respect that input. That's good.
So I want to ask how kind of making it a little bit more of a global conversation here. How do you look at American, maybe even in government, politics, society, culture, whatever you want to kind of touch on?
Touch on it all. Beat
'em up. And yeah, maybe, after you say how you feel, maybe like what the majority of Finns think as well, if you can.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually had a talk about this with my friend like a few days ago, and we were talking about tax money and the differences here in Finland and with the States.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just thinking about, where do you guys use your tax money? Where does it go? Like how is it divided?
If we fucking
Yeah, Nick is like the perfect fucking person to talk to because he would shit on America all day when it comes to that. But it's supposed to go to public things such as roads, schools, buildings, shit like that. But sometimes healthcare, sometimes it doesn't. You know how it goes. Sometimes
sometimes you lose $500 billion.
Yeah.
I don't know where it went.
Well, that's usually what happens to me when I'm online shopping.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe one of our governors was just like,
Let's go somewhere.
I could use a new yacht.
Yeah. Okay.
For business expenses. I have a business cruise to go on. Need my other governor friends.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So but no, the money that actually does go to use, not speaking about the actual dirty money or whatever, tax money that is used for what it's meant to be used for is actually, it's how to explain this, the confines of administration for government financial institutions or what have you, basically the things that they purchase because it's the government purchasing it, they use a bid system for a lot of construction, military, things like that, and you end up paying these astronomical rates and prices for things that the average citizen could buy for a fraction of the cost. And so one instance that comes to mind.
Yeah, I was gonna say, use an example.
We were talking about this about a week ago, and so I don't know. I haven't shared this with you, but I used to be in the Navy.
Yeah.
And we would have a market that we would go to on base to buy things for shipboard use, to use on the boat.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, the invoices we would see would blow your mind. So we would buy a hammer, all right? What would be in the States, a $9 to $15 hammer.
Yeah.
You're spending $500 on.
Seriously?
Yeah. So literally the overwhelming majority of our tax money goes to these extorted prices on the government.
Okay.
The lowest bidder said he could provide it at this cost. So whoever that guy is, fuck him. I'm in the parking lot. We got some words to have.
Yeah, because this was actually one thing, because we were comparing things. For example, I mentioned, here in Finland, we have free education, free healthcare, and those things are what's the word? Well, the money is used to have those things here and being provided to the citizens. And because I've always had a little bit interest to compare about the tax system in the States and here in Finland, and what possibilities it gives to people, what it doesn't, and what in my personal opinion, I feel the situation at your side of the globe, it is a little bit what?
So in Finland, what are you taxed on? Do you pay sales tax?
Yeah.
Do you have a food tax?
Yeah.
Income tax?
Yeah. For example, if you are an entrepreneur, for example, for me, it's 10% from my sales.
Okay. That's kind of high.
Well, I mean, you have to consider, this happens in a lot of Scandinavian countries that live off of this system, is the reason the taxes are so high on everything is to provide help,
Right.
free healthcare,
Right.
free.
See, and that makes sense.
Yeah. And 10, actually the 0 is the lowest. Then there's 10, I think 14, if I can remember correctly, and the highest is 24%.
And what's the 24 on?
What? 24.
What's the, like,
in what case would you pay the highest amount?
Well, I do pay if I have a riding lesson for a person that hasn't have a riding school, for example, because it's more like coaching stuff. So that's 24. And when I work in a riding school, that's more like exercising things. Then it's 10%.
Okay.
Gotcha.
A little bit, yeah.
So like if it's, I'm assuming it, because it's more of a personal kind of job,
Yeah.
it's taxed more than if it was under a I don't know, like a company setting or something like that. Am I understanding that correctly?
I think it's the same for everyone.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then do you also pay like property tax if you like own land?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to figure out, all right, so we've got income, sales, food.
Wait, hold on. This is something that all Americans want to hear. And I already know the answer to this question, but just so people are clear, are you guys allowed to have guns?
No.
America!
Unless if we have applied to have them for hunting and stuff like that. But
okay.
we are allowed to just have them.
Right.
Any licenses, yeah.
There you go, Nick. Look at that. Nick is rubbing his beard a little bit.
Huh. So you can't just have a gun to have fun with a gun?
No.
Huh.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's something that all Americans are interested in, just because a lot of American culture.
I wouldn't. I mean, well,
not all.
Not all.
Let me clarify here. A lot.
There are a lot of people that are just against guns,
right?
In general.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good that you clarified that for me. But a lot of people are very, let's just say, passionate about their amendment rights. And one of those amendments is to own a firearm.
The right to bear arms.
Yes.
Gun kinks.
To be fair, I am not a gun kink. Know what you're thinking? I know what you're thinking. Not a gun kink.
Mm-mm.
All right, I own one gun. And I barely ever shoot it. But when I do, I enjoy the shit out of it.
Surprisingly.
And I look like a superhero badass out of like an action flick. Things are exploding. There's fire over there.
Just to clarify, this has never been used on another human being before.
Yeah,
this is
no.
This is specifically for
no. I'm not
personal interest.
I'm not killing people. I'm just creating action scenes.
Fair enough.
So, all right, another thing I want to get into, because you ain't got no guns. Does everyone have a car?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sick. All right. If I ain't got guns, I'll take a car for sure.
What, you think all Finns don't have a car or something?
I didn't know it could
come on. The distances are so, like, places are so far away from each other, and we, like I said, almost every Finn, not every Finn, but majority of our people, they live in Helsinki. And okay, those guys drive buses and use train, but I'd say that everyone that lives around the area where I live, and the people much more up in there in the north, everyone has a car, or 2 or 3.
They got that 4-wheel drive?
4x4?
Mm-hmm.
It's just regular cars.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Get her in the mud, you know what I'm saying?
Traktorilla ajella.
What? What'd you call me?
I didn't say anything about you.
Okay.
I was just saying that how we do it here.
Well, hell yeah. All
I
right.
really need to teach you some Finnish.
Free lessons.
You'll get me in trouble. That's what you'll do. You teach me Finnish, I'll get in trouble. I'll use it.
I'm gonna teach you all the dirty words.
Just the dirty ones. Dima's been teaching me Russian, and all he teaches me is like the respectable things. So like I know to say goodbye like a
freaking
like a schoolboy.
Yep. I was gonna say sailor, but that wouldn't work.
Yeah, no. All right. So you got heavy taxes, but your heavy taxes go to a very considerably good cause.
Yeah.
We have heavy taxes, and we don't know where that fucking money goes.
Not too bad for you.
She said, you're fucked, and I love it.
Said, sucks to suck. All right, and then so we have guns.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have guns, but look where that got us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, listen, to make it a little bit more fun, what do people usually do on their free time? Is it clubbing? Is it going to bars? Is it, what do people in Finland do? What's the cool thing to do nowadays?
We wrestle with bears and have our penguin farms.
That sounds like a Russian culture there.
Yeah. Well, we are basically neighbors.
Yeah.
No, we do go outside and drink, get depressed, listen to black metal, stuff like that. Yeah. Now I am giving out a really bad image about Finnish people.
I'm into it. All right.
What's wrong with you?
To be fair, though, a penguin farm sounds rad. That sounds awesome.
I know.
Hey, listen, penguins are probably the cutest little animals, little bird mammal thingies that
It's a bird.
that exist.
We
So
don't really have them here.
I know, but have you ever seen or hugged a penguin before?
They smell really bad.
They do.
No, I haven't.
It's the cutest little thing. It's almost like hugging a koala bear.
It is, and it looks like they don't even have knees.
No, they just have little flippers.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't have like legs. It's just torso and feet. Yeah.
Nick is a good example of a penguin. Look at that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to compare some notes on government stuff. I think we'll probably save that one for chapter 2. I'd like to do the chapter if that's an option.
Yeah.
For sure, definitely chapter 2.
But I would before we close out, I'd like to progress a little bit on your view of the U.S.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we've kind of talked about the taxation thing and the gun stuff and the car thing, and like those are like my personal cares. Those are the things that I want to know.
Yeah.
But like, what is your perception of the U.S. just in general? Like, what do you think about? Are you like, oh, those shitty Americans over there ruining everything, or
No.
Look at those idiots, they're so lost.
No, I just think some of you guys maybe think that you are bigger than you actually are, but that doesn't apply to everyone. Like, on the other hand, when it comes to Finland, we are usually on the other way around. We tend to think that we are much smaller than we usually are, and that is basically how we see people that are really like confident, and they are really like, well, you love your country. But I have friends living in the States, and I really love them. I think you have so many things going on there, and I would love to visit someday maybe when this whole pandemic thing. Yeah.
It's just a little swim. It's not even that far.
Yeah, it's nothing for Finn.
Bring some of that grotesque with you.
Yeah, I will.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
To be honest with you, that's actually not like the most terrible thing. It's not the worst thing I imagined you would have said.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
So, hey, what do you guys think about Finland? Do you have any idea about like you've been to Sweden? You know, Finns are Sweden are always like kind of like this, especially when
Well, I'll let Nick answer it, and then I'll talk about it a little bit.
We'll go more in depth. So, like, I've been to a lot of countries, and I've seen a lot of shit, and I've seen a lot of weird people doing a lot of oddball things that I wouldn't do myself. But when I think back and I reflect on Finland, like specifically, you guys are quiet. You guys are super quiet. All right.
Yeah, we are.
There's an old saying about quiet people.
They're the wisest in the room?
No.
Oh.
No. You always fear the quiet guy.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
You should.
You need to watch the quiet guy. So I don't know what you guys are cooking up over there, but I got my eye on you.
You should.
I mean, what I was going to say about Finland is just, first of all, you know, being a person that visits Sweden very often. I had a really good friend of mine actually study music in a music school in Helsinki. He's an accordionist, and he's only said very good things about Finland. I've also my little brother. He actually did a study abroad program, not in Finland, but in Denmark, which is around the same area and stuff like that. You know, so I went over there to Copenhagen. I've never been to Helsinki personally, but I have been around. I've been, you know, to, like I said, Stockholm and Copenhagen and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's not a lot of bad things to say about Finns. That's it. That's all it is. You know, they're a very beautiful people that, you know, like to, and this is based on just having a conversation with you. Really nice people, really very calm people that don't have a whole bunch of problems to throw at anyone else. So fuck yeah, I love Finland right now.
Yeah, good.
Now there is something that I've never experienced on my own, but I've heard that Finnish people don't enjoy small talk particularly.
We don't.
So like, there's no walking down the street, you see somebody, you don't really know them, and you don't say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Well, no. I actually accidentally I've done it sometimes because of course when I go to work I have to greet people, and then the role kind of stuck. I came home, I walked from my car to my front door, and I was like, everybody that just walked by me, I was like, "Hello, hi," and they were just giving me these weird eyes. Oh fuck, I'm gonna get stabbed.
You think? Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
Really?
You do not do it here, no.
All right, so I might get in trouble because I love to say hey to randos.
Well, you're from the South, you know what I mean? You're a Southern boy at heart. So a lot of people in Southern America, you know, that
Southern, like Southeastern American culture is
all about that.
Very howdy.
Yeah, you can do that. You just need to have someone with the camera.
I don't know. Like, are there a lot of large people in Finland?
Yeah.
How large?
Large. I would say large.
Nick. I don't. You guys have never seen each other in person.
No.
So Nick is a pretty big dude. You know, he's I don't know in inches.
I don't know. They go
or
meters.
Meters is what I mean.
Metric.
But he's a pretty big dude. I don't know how many fucking meters you are, but
Like
he'll fit.
6.5 feet.
He'll fit right in. He'll fit right in with with the Vikings. You know.
What, 2.5 meters ish?
2.5 meters.
All right.
You're not doing.
Hold on.
He's tall. He's very tall.
Google it.
Hold on.
Nick is going to be Googling the height conversion here, so we can properly get some measurements here. 2 meters.
All right, so like 6.5 is like 2 meters.
2 meters.
Is that bad?
No.
I can't.
We can start a really good fights.
Yeah, like you guys wrestle?
Yeah.
Put me in. Let's go.
Yeah, we just need to find some drunk people and go out. Every time the bar's closed, there are usually some kind of wrestling going on somewhere.
Hey, there you go. Look at his smile.
Yeah, he's basically ready to move here in Finland.
Hell yeah.
He's ready to go.
You listen to Turbo Negro?
Huh?
You listen to Turbo Negro?
I've heard some songs.
Okay. Because I think if I were in that neck of the woods, like in that area of the world, I've got to listen to Turbo Negro. I don't know if anybody's, like any listeners are familiar with that band, but that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and you can introduce them.
Hell yeah.
Boom.
All right.
Well, listen, it has been, in order to wrap this podcast up, this episode up, it has been an absolute pleasure of meeting you.
Likewise.
And yeah, you've absolutely been amazing. So thank you again for coming on the podcast and being so brave and
staying up super late for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Staying up super late.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of the listeners and viewers will learn a good amount from this episode. We've covered everything, folks, from the different, cultural differences to differences in taxes to differences in government to differences in a whole bunch of shit. So hopefully you guys get a little bit from this episode. This has been the 4099 podcast with your hosts Dima and
Nick.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in, for listening from all streaming platforms, for viewing from YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, no. Before we cast off here.
Oh yeah, good.
Anu, is there anything you'd like to say to like people?
I don't know.
It could be inspiring words, deep thought, recommendation.
Oh, no, you just give me so much pressure to stay healthy, keep yourself safe.
You could throw a shout out. I don't know if you guys do shout outs in Finland, but
yeah, we do. I want to give a shout out to Jens because I really want you guys to have her in your show. And I know she's going to hate me because of this. She's probably
that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to reel her in on the next episode.
Yeah, and you do that, definitely.
Sick. All right, I'll take that. And then if you're comfortable with it, you can throw out a pitch for where anyone can reach you for like any kind of like art stuff or Finland stuff.
Yeah, sure. Like in my Instagram, for example, Kilometrisaurus.
No.
I don't know.
How do you spell that for all the American folks?
Kilometrisaurus. K Y. I like kilometri.
I'll we're gonna do this. We're gonna put her header down in the video here, and everyone will know where to reach you. So
I'm gonna put my hands up so you can drop it right here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. This has been another episode of the 4099 podcast, and we are out.
Sick.